You big fat liar.
I am an inventor. I'm a storyteller, which means that I lie about things.
There it is. He had finally admitted it. All right. All right. MS Noah versus MS Skysama. And, oh! Oh. And I believe, yes, the... So it's going to be Swordcraft versus Shadowcraft. We're going to be looking here. It's going to be 0-0. There it is. Skysama.
Got me feeling hungry.
Nice to see you.
I feel like Swordcraft is an interesting thing. We did see Swordcraft move forward, I mean, in one of the first matches we saw today. And I continue to wonder what is the difference between the decks that are being run and the playstyles that are being developed in the Japanese region that is causing Swordcraft to be kind of a little more oppressed, whereas it's finding pretty decent footing in the Western region.
That's right, and we've seen another neutral Shadowcraft deck. This is interesting. This is something I was not expecting today.
There it is. The Novice Trooper riding bravely on the horsey. Trooper. Such a great card.
Unicorn Dancer is a great card as well. That's a card we don't see nearly as often, I think.
Oh, he's got 2 of them? How are you ever going to do damage to this guy? That's basically a Lucifer right there.
Yeah, 4 health at the beginning of your turn.
Obviously,
as opposed to 4 health at the end of your turn.
Much easier to remove, and I think Skysama is aiming to do that right about now. Floral Fencer Evolve, always a great option. I just feel like the curve has been fairly lenient towards Skysama in this particular game.
Being able to evolve a Floral Fencer right on turn 4 with that first evolve point is the gold standard for Swordcraft. We see that card, Floral Fencer, in just about every single Swordcraft deck, I feel like.
So board control is relatively even. The health is far an advantage for SM Noah, though. But that might also be a byproduct of Noah being able to go first. The Storm is going to help Skysama catch up. Made Leader to try to draw a commander. It's going to be the Luminous Mage, a new card. This expansion. Very useful. You play the Luminous Mage, summon the Luminous
Knight.
Luminous Knight, and you can freely evolve other commanders.
Very strong card.
As long as the Luminous Mage stands. So, as long as that card is on the board, free evolves.
Certainly makes that card a target. No doubt.
Made Leader gets taken out by Lyriel. And still more board clear on the way here. The 5/5 Goblin King is also a really good card to have.
What a great turn 6 playing with Lyriel and the Goblin King. 4 and then 2. Evolve for 1 damage, and then you've got a 4/4 follower to attack with. What a great turn 6.
Get all that damage buff. We'll trade out with the Goblin King here. Maybe throw one of the Knights in, and he does. Trades against Lyriel, and again board control, and finally swinging for 3, gonna even up the board.
Definite tempo shift into Skysama's favor with that play just there.
Again, now this is interesting. Playing the Goblins is really going to aid the Wind God in just kind of making sure that the Wind God gets maximum efficiency. 5 cards on the board with the Wind God included is a lot of extra damage that you get from the Fanfare effect. This has been actually a really interesting trade back and forth here. Just because there's so many cards that are being committed to the table, and it's really about kind of figuring out what the most efficient trade is.
Absolutely. Whether or not to go for face or clear the board, I find those some of the most interesting decisions.
I feel like Swordcraft is really in the advantage in this scenario, though. A second Luminous Mage is making things super difficult. I mean, Swordcraft thrives in this scenario, right? When you're talking about board control, there's so many cards in Swordcraft's arsenal that just says, I play this card and I get 2 other cards with it, you know, or I evolve and all my cards get some kind of benefit here. Wind God is the response. We'll see how this board kind of shapes up.
And that's going to be the last card from Noah's hand. He's burnt out. His deck is out of gas.
Look at how much more Skysama has left to go as well. Even just the Albert sitting there, and in 2 turns, 10 damage. And he has a choice to just use Albert to trade out. especially on the enhanced drop when he just doesn't take damage himself.
Thinking about the trade right now. Is Noah going to trade into followers, go for face? Which followers does he trade into? Destroy Goblin Princess will get Goblin King in his hand. That'll be a great play next turn. Getting another a 5/5 ward on his side of the field is definitely going to help mitigate some of this aggression that's going to be coming on turn 9 with a fully evolved Albert doing its full damage with its 9 enhance ability.
Turn 8 is going to be a little bit awkward, but he's got 2 Genos.
It won't be long now.
Another free evolve point. These mages are really getting their worth.
Yeah. I mean, basically every turn since the first Luminous Mage was played, evolve
Absolutely.
for free. And you're still sitting on 1 orb. It's such a great card. You'll be able to take out the Wind God. And still board control solidly in favor. Shadowcraft now out of options. And I think this was just straight pushing your opponent out of options here. Forcing the trade.
Having more efficient plays. When it comes turn 5, you're using all your play points, really getting the most use out of all their followers. That was key in this matchup, I think.
Sky Knights, prepare for battle.
The enhanced Albert comes down.
It all ends here.
It's a 5 damage, and there it is. It's over.
Darn it all.
That's a solid deck right there. Luminous Mage demonstrated in front of everybody's eyes. And I think Swordcraft is continuing to demonstrate why it's had any amount of success here. I actually think that Luminous Mage, I mean, it just seemed like Noah had a hard time, or rather Skysama had a hard time removing it. So, we'll see.
Definitely, definitely.
Swordcraft is now out, so he can't play that deck again.
That's right, that's right. I believe it's a Dragoncraft deck that Skysama has. So we'll see how his... Was it the aggro deck? Was it Skysama that had the aggro dragon deck?
Yeah, I would have to think back a little bit to remember exactly what it is.
Bow before Dark Dragoon, ruler of the skies.
Let's see
Right,
what
Radovid game 2.
Skysama...
So Swordcraft is not an option. Bloodcraft is being played right now.
First time we've seen it all day. Looks to be the standard aggro blood deck.
I like this choice from
Greetings.
yeah, I
Hey
think
there.
Noah, we were talking about how Bloodcraft was kind of one of those classes that didn't really see fantastic success and had kind of the lowest play rate in the Japanese region. And I wonder if that's kind of just the finesse of having to play around that vengeance.
Right, still Belphegor, very comparable card, very powerful card in the Bloodcraft decks. Giving yourself vengeance right off the bat on turn 4. It's playing with fire, that card, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Dragoncraft again, as we've seen so many times before. Really looking to ramp, and this is kind of a tough situation because Bloodcraft can be so aggressive. It's one of the decks that can really kind of push Dragoncraft into an uncomfortable spot really quick, unlike many of the other classes.
Right, it's hard to justify ramping
plays
up with
both
Oracle
his
and
Zells.
Aelia when Bloodcraft is going to be able to do so much damage, and that's both the Zells going on the field.
There it is. Vengeance is active. He opts to just pop it right here.
Next turn, the Dark General will have Storm. That'll be another significant amount of damage. Noah's looking to close out this game real fast unless Skysama's got some tricks up his sleeves.
And I think that's the perfect choice here for Noah. He really knows that he wants to either push out the Dragoncraft's options that they would have liked to hold. For example, committing to 2 Zells already at this point. It's definitely not ideal.
But he's got the board in his favor now. With 2 followers on the board. And Noah is still on 10 health from the Belphegor.
We'll have to see how much of a swing Noah will have from activating that Vengeance. And so far, it really seems like the key card that is being held is that Dark General. Thinking a little bit about the play. Demonic Strike in hand as well. It's just straight 3 damage.
Dark General doing the storm damage right to face with Evolve. That's 6 damage right there. That's... That'll put Skysama at 6 health. Still a lot of options. And then Enabling Wraith after that will do 1 damage to himself and then 1 damage. That'll put Skysama at 5 health.
The bigger question here is Skysama has 2 options to play. One is Sybil, one is Bahamut. Both not super comfortable. And is that really going to secure very solid board control for you?
Right.
There's a Dark General coming down.
Still the 3 health. Getting healed for 3 at the end of your turn playing Sybil. That has got to come in handy. Every health point is going to matter at this stage in the game.
Wow, he just went for face. So board clear is definitely a thing here. Gets a second Sybil as well, so that means for this turn and the next turn, has the option to get that healing to kind of tide Skysama over until he can get to Bahamut, perhaps.
He's most likely going to evolve and trade into the Dark General. That's going to leave Sybil still alive.
May as well swing with the Zell. Vengeance is already active. There it is, just barely surviving the onslaught. Just remember, Demonic Strike is still a very real thing. As we get to 8 play points, 6 damage to the face, you only need to find some way to do 2 damage more.
He's going to have to spend an evolve point if he wants to get rid of the Sybil. That's going to be game ending if he can't find a way to get rid of that. And that's his last evolve point. So he's not going to be able to spend it on another Follower of the Storm Alucard, say, later in the game.
Here it is, summoning the Bloodkin.
This is my home.
Oh. Gets the ward up there.
Hey, check this out. All must come to an
Just
end.
1 play point away from being able to play Bahamut this turn.
Draconic Fervor, not super helpful, I don't think. I really think Sybil is a choice to go here.
Yeah, you wanna have the follower advantage in this case because Bloodcraft is really chipping away at Skysama's health.
It's very tense right now. I mean, really, it's just there are definitely options in Noah's deck that could be drawn here that I feel like could end the game in a moment's notice. Oh, the heal, though, puts it a little bit far out of reach. Oh, Belphegor again.
It's like gold to me.
Of course, not going to do any damage here, but 6 damage. How do you respond?
Oh man, you beat
Ran out of options there. Didn't have enough for the double Demonic Strike as well. And so, Bloodcraft, I feel like, just didn't quite draw into the options that it needed.
Right.
One of the reasons why a lot of these other decks like Dragoncraft are so strong is because you have that draw option, right? You can keep picking up cards that you need.
Not to mention the healing option. We saw Sybil used to maximum effect there, playing 2 of them, and I think the second one was on the field until the end of the game. And that's a tremendous card. Gaining an orb if it's played on your 5th turn, and then healing for 3 at the end of your... That's what kept Dragoncraft alive at the end of the game there.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons why aggro can be so successful is you have a large collection of cards at the low cost kind of area, and what that allows you to do is have a little more consistency in your early rounds. And really, if you're playing a late game deck, you either want to hope that your opponent doesn't have a lot of pressure that requires you to have specific answers, or you want to just keep drawing to make sure you have all the answers that you need as quickly as possible. That was a good demonstration of kind of Bloodcraft running out of gas, I think.
Definitely, definitely. All right, this is Noah 1, Skysama 1. The final match of this series to see who goes to the semifinals. Is it going to be Noah or Skysama? The same aggro blood deck that we saw in the last game.
And so we're back to Skysama's Shadowcraft, which took a loss to the Swordcraft of Noah. We've kind of already seen the Shadowcraft deck in action. So many bats.
We'll see if Goblin Princess plays such a crucial role in this game as it did the last game, being able to get those Goblin Kings in hand, playing them with the Lyrial Archers on turn 6 for the maximum effect.
Absolutely. I think that the Goblin Princess has been really great. Goblin Princess Wind God in the context of Shadowcraft has looked really clean, but I feel like it just might be that one step away from being able to be cleanly executed. I don't think we've seen the ideal situation for it quite yet.
My wings are killing me.
Time will tell if that ideal situation comes out. Interesting that we see a Shadow Reaper come out in a deck that's not utilizing Prince Catacomb.
At least as far as we know, we haven't seen Prince Catacomb quite yet.
That's exactly true. Still having great effect, getting +2/+2 right there.
And you still have to chew through the Grimner. So unless you're going to go for some kind of... I mean, it has ambush as well, so you can't even really remove it. I mean, it's a really strong turn for Skysama, actually. And as we know from Shadowcraft, it can really turn the tide of the game if you have a solid opener.
With 5 play orbs, Dance of Death would clear Grimnir, but that would just give Shadow Reaper another 1 attack points. That's more damage to face. Tough choice here for Noah.
Sitting and thinking, deliberating just a little bit more. But gonna use it on the ward. Give 4/4 there. And that's probably the best he could have done.
Right, leaving Grimnir up would have allowed both of them to attack. That would have been 1 extra point of damage and still the ward to deal with. So getting rid of the follower, getting rid of ward, I think was a great option in that scenario.
Lots of cards being committed to the board. It's kind of a call out here that removal is not going to be a huge option on the side of Noah. We do have Razor Claw. He already committed Dance of Death. That's not going to be able to clear out the sheer amount of cards that are available for Skysama.
Yeah, I think seeing Death's Dance come out made Skysama feel a little bit safer. Okay, his board clear, his control is gone. Let me now flood the board with followers, try to put pressure on this game.
Gambling Wrath coming out. Perhaps going to use that Razor Claw to clear it. Still got Storm from the Blood Wolf as well, but that's a lot of self-damage going into Noah.
A lot of self-damage, and Unicorn Dancer is going to be able to heal Skysama for 2 extra health.
Vengeance is active now for Noah, but I don't feel like there's really anything super slated towards Vengeance giving it a huge benefit. And instead, you're just putting yourself in a much more precarious situation where now you're going to take 5, and you really need the perfect option here. Means a little bit of value here. +1/+1, plus the evolve. For just 1 cost is great because now you can also play the Imp Lancer. But is it going to be enough? 4 damage exactly. Oh.
Doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Skysama is going to take this series 2-1. What a great series.
And this was the team kill that we were talking about. Skysama lost the first round there, and that Bloodcraft deck on Noah's side just wasn't quite well put together enough to face off against what Skysama had to offer. So the sword actually did well, but then the Bloodcraft could not kind of push it over over the match there.
I was really impressed.